In this video, we will show you our visualization interface, where the data comes from tweet sentiment analysis as well as the Australian Urban Research Infrastructure Network. Now, let's load our web page. Each time we load our web page, we will retrieve fresh data from the back-end APIs and we will give our data to the map and charts. Now, the data has been loaded, and the current map view shows the surrounding suburbs around Melbourne. Each grid is a suburb, and we can also see each suburb has a different color, and that's because we render the color based on the average sentiment score of the suburb. If we hover on a colored suburb, we can now see detailed information about this suburb on the top right, including sickness allowance and mental health issue cases. On our map, we also have the purpled clusters, where each cluster has a number of markers representing one single person's mood at a coordinate, analyzed from his or her tweets. You may notice that each marker has a different icon and color, and that's because they have different sentiment scores. Now, if we click on a marker, we can see the detailed summary about this person, where the fluctuation score is calculated by the maximum sentiment score minus the minimum. The positive and negative text shows the tweets that correspond to the max and min score respectively. Now, let us show you one interesting point. Wow, there are so many markers at one point. That's because for these points, we only have suburb information, and so we can only give the coordinates of the suburb center. Now, let's get back to the default map view. You may notice that there was a change in the texts below, and that's because the suburb data used in the charts below are based on the current bounds of our map. Let's scroll down. The first chart shows a ranked list of suburbs based on their average sentiment score, and one of our major observations is that Melbourne is a relatively happy city because most of the suburbs have a positive sentiment. We can see two charts. One is to compare sentiment score with mental health issue cases, and the second one compares sentiment score with sickness allowance. The conclusion we have drawn from these two charts is that there should be some relationship between them, as we found that there is a subtle trend of the scatter dots. For example, with this chart, we can see the greener dots tend to skew towards the left-hand side, and so the lower sickness allowance is, the higher sentiment score we get for a suburb.